Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a mystery film from France, although this is spoken in multiple languages. The majority is in the French language, English subtitles, released in the year 2019, directed by Régis Ronza, and this film is called The Translators. So The Translators is about the world's anticipation for a final installment of a trilogy of books written by a French mysterious author. When anyone reads his stuff, they fall in love with. And so everyone loves this stuff. It's kind of like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, except this is in France. But before the final installment can be released, it has to be translated into languages. So 10 translators from different countries come to Paris, and they're told by the company that they have to work in an underground bunker, and they cannot communicate with the outside world until the work is done. So when they get to work, before long, there is a text message to the head of this company, publishing company, that says that if they don't pay $5 million, they're going to leak this story 20 pages at a time to the public, and it's going to ruin everything. So it's a frantic search for the culprit before it's too late. So whether or not the publishing company can prevent this catastrophe from happening is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on The Translators. I was highly anticipating this movie for a number of reasons. Number one, it is a French mystery film. In France, mystery, when it's done properly, it can be really, really memorable. Number two, it has an all-star cast from multiple countries. You got Olga Kurylenko, who's a beautiful Ukrainian actress. You got Lambert Wilson, who's a legendary French actor, and also Eduardo Noriega, who is a very well-known Spanish actor. So you've got these different nationalities that are very well-known in their specific country. And so for them all to come together in a French production, I thought, well, that was very interesting. And number three, it has a lot of very positive reviews. So I know better than to judge a film and go into a movie expecting something on outside influence, but when it has a lot of praise in the festival circuit, it's definitely caused you to take notice. And so for those three specific reasons, I had high expectations for The Translators, and I was hoping that it was going to be a movie that was worth my time. Which is the reason why I was so deflated and disappointed by what I got in this experience. Now, I will go through the negatives, which unfortunately far outweigh the positives. So if you're expecting this movie to be of a typical French production, you're going to be bitterly disappointed. Now, this is a very good looking film. It is very well made, and the script and the overall mystery to this film for the first half worked fairly well. And I like the ideas. It's about art and selling your art, and how far you can go before you become a sellout, and all of a sudden the money clouds your artistic approach. And so I thought that was interesting, because a lot of people do that. A lot of people ultimately have to make a living, but how far do you go in order to preserve your art? And so this movie showcased that, and I thought, well, that is an interesting sort of aspect. Although the aspect wasn't really intensified, I thought it was lingering around. It actually made me question my favourite directors and how they will see the lure of money and how it will corrupt them and how it corrupts everybody in the artistic arena. And so I thought, all right, well, that is definitely interesting. And I thought if they kind of magnified that story a little bit more, it could have actually been very, very intriguing. And so that was definitely the aspect of the film that actually kept me interested. This movie never really outstays its welcome, which was a relief. And I definitely think as though that artistic approach and that marketing was definitely the draw card in that regard. I thought the acting was fairly decent, and I thought the production was actually quite crisp. And to actually have a film where the majority of it is inside a bunker and they're just talking, I thought that whodunit in the first half was actually quite riveting. But unfortunately, that is basically where the positives stop, and this is where the negatives begin. If you've read Agatha Christie before, ultimately you know how this movie is going to go. I thought it was actually quite predictable. I thought the all-star cast had really nothing to do. All these characters seemed to blend into each other. I didn't really care about anyone. I thought the main character, who was from England, I thought was really annoying. And so I didn't really care about the side stories to these characters. And so when it goes into side plots, I thought as though it didn't really go anywhere. And so the whole film inside this bunker just feels like it's going around and around in circles. It felt like an episode of a TV show, maybe even Tales of the Unexpected, which is a classic British show about these mystery stories that have a really exaggerated twist. And so that exaggerated twist is to completely take you off guard. And unfortunately, this movie had a twist that was definitely reminiscent of Tales of the Unexpected, where I thought, all right, well, that was silly. It really wouldn't happen like that. And I just thought it was there just for the sake of taking you off guard. And if it's a very silly sort of twist, then ultimately it doesn't really work. And I definitely think as though The Translators was very lazy in that aspect. I thought the twist was actually going to be a lot better than it was. And ultimately, a lot of the impact of the twist is taken off because it's revealed way too early. As I said, in the first half of this film, The mystery as to who this leak is was very riveting, but unfortunately it reveals itself way too early, and so when you actually get the revelation, the rest of the film goes at a very pedestrian pace. And so I just didn't really like the way it went about its business. I thought as though that the not knowing where the leak came from could have actually been used a lot further down the film to actually keep you glued to the screen, because I thought as though the first half of the movie was actually quite interesting, but it never capitalises on that interest because it uses its aces up its sleeve way too early. And so the whole generic Agatha Christie aspect, there is certain aspects of this movie that actually felt like a story from Agatha Christie. This is a movie directed by a director who's obviously a fan of these types of stories, but just can't really make a film of his own. And so unfortunately it is generic, it is incredibly bland, and overall incredibly disappointing. And so I know this movie has a lot of praise, each to their own. If you like this type of stuff, you might find this a lot more intriguing and better than I did. But for me, coming into a movie with such high expectations and everyone really building it up, I felt as though it was incredibly deflating and ultimately not worth the effort. And I'm going to give the Translators 2 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Next time keep watching movies and I'll see you later.